Let's start in a restorative child's pose then. So you've all got something, cushion, a bolster, to find a child's pose and rest your chest or your head on it. If it feels too far away and you've got bricks, you can pop them underneath it to lift it up a little bit higher. And it's just at the end. I'm going to take a moment to get comfortable because we're going to be here for a little while. Try not to fall asleep. Taking a nice deep breath in. Sighing out through the mouth. Maybe taking a couple more sighs if that feels good. And allowing yourself to find a little bit of softness here. And close the eyes if you wish. And whenever you're ready, sealing the lips, starting to draw the breath a little bit deeper into the belly, the ribs. Starting to slow down the breath. Your head's turned one way, think about maybe turning it to the opposite side. Keeping your focus on your breath, fostering that steady, controlled pace. Three more breaths here. And when you're ready, starting to bring yourself up towards a tabletop. Just pop everything to the side so it's still in easy reach for later. Take a moment to set up. Hands, wrists under shoulders, thinking about pressing the ground away, gripping with those fingertips and knuckles. Nice long spine through the neck as well. Nice steady breaths here. And then we'll do some cat-cow. So on an inhale, the belly's going to drop down, looking up and forward, chest nice and broad. As you exhale, arching the back to the sky, head, hands heavy. And keeping that going, inhaling to roll forward, belly down, chest up. Exhale to arch the back to the sky, looking between the knees. You can keep the eyes open or you can close them. Trying to notice the movement through your spine, any sticky bits, any smooth bits. See if you can even out that transition that movement. Two more pairs. Remembering to press through the fingertips and the knuckles throughout. The wrists aren't taking all of that effort. And coming back to neutral when you're ready. Do some side bends next. So you're going to take the right shoulder and hip towards each other, looking over the shoulder. And then going to the left, so left hip and shoulder reaching for each other. It's moving with the breath from side to side. One more on each side. And we're going to come back to that tabletop. Do a little thread the needle. We're going to do three flows, and then a hold. So starting from your nice strong tabletop on an inhale, reaching the right arm up to the sky, pressing the ground away with that left hand. Exhale as you reach the right hand under the left arm. Inhale to reach all the way back up to the sky. Exhale, reaching through. One more time, pressing the ground away with the left hand as you reach the right fingers up. Exhale, reaching the right hand under the left as far as it will go before you bring the hand, the shoulder, the head down. Left hand can stay in front of the face for support, or you can walk the hand away, little bit of pressure through it. Nice deep breaths. Going to walk the left hand back in front of the face first, if it went for a walk. And you're going to inhale to press down and reach the right hand all the way back up to the sky. Exhale, right hand comes down straight into the other side. Inhaling, left hand reaches up. Exhale, reaching under the right arm. Inhale, lifting all the way back up, pressing the ground away with the right hand. Exhale, reaching through. One more. Inhale, lifting all the way up, nice and open through the chest. Exhale, reaching under the right arm as far as you can before you bring yourself down to the ground. Your choice with that right hand, keeping it close or stretching it out. On an exhale, walking that right hand back in front of the face. As you inhale, you can press down into it. As you reach the left hand up to the sky, it's going to stay up there. You're going to pivot the right leg, so the knee's going to stay where it is, but swing the foot off the mat to the side behind you. You're going to bring your weight onto the right and step the left leg out straight. Lovely. Collided with all of my furniture. A nice big stretch through the left side of the body here. We're going to do 3 big circles with that top hand. So on an exhale, we're going to reach the arm overhead, bring it down in front of us. Inhale is going to bring the hand back up. Second circle. Last one. Your choice whether you want to focus on pressing the ground away with that bottom hand and reaching through the fingertips straight up for the sky. Just taking a note that that hand doesn't slip behind you. Or you can reach the arm overhead for a bigger stretch through the left side of the body. Up to you. Trying to keep the chest lifted, keep pressing the ground away with the right hand, using those fingertips, those knuckles. Last breath. And on an exhale, bringing yourself back to all fours. And we did skip it on the other side, so we can take it over to the left. So swinging the foot out first, bringing the weight onto the left side, right leg goes out straight, right hand reaches up for the sky. 3 big circles. Exhaling to bring the arm over and forward. Inhale to bring it back. Second circle. And your last one. Again, taking that decision whether you want to press through the left hand, reach directly up to the sky with those right fingertips, or whether you want to take the right arm overhead, palm of the hand facing down to the ground. Nice big stretch through the right side of the body. Nice big breaths. Pressing the ground away with those left fingertips. Trying to keep some space around that left shoulder. On an exhale, finding your way back to your tabletop. And then we're going to come to kneeling. So if you need to grab a block or a bolster under your hips, your bum, for a little bit of support, or if you're fine just kneeling without anything, up to you. Just finding a spot where you're tall through the spine, chest is nice and broad. On an inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands to heart. Just going to do a few more of these. So inhale, big sweep up. Exhale, hands coming back down, following your breath. So 3 more in your own time. Trying to use that full breath to complete the movement. Inhale to sweep the arms up again. Interlace the fingers. Press the heels of the hands up to the sky. Have a little wiggle, little stretch out through the 2 sides of the body. Then we're going to take the interlocked fingers to the base of the skull. Keep the elbows nice and wide. And try and keep the hips absolutely still and do some little twists. So you're thinking about moving from the waist up if you can. So on an exhale, a little twist towards the right, keeping those elbows wide. And inhale to come back to center. And then the left side on the next exhale. Keeping that going. So each inhale brings you forward, and each exhale finds a little twist. So moving nice and slowly and noticing what those elbows are doing. Noticing if the spine starts to round, if the shoulder creeps forward. See if you can keep everything nice and open, nice and long. Making the next pair your final pair. So the last twist goes to the left. And then coming back to center. Taking a breath here, nice and tall. On an exhale, bringing the elbows together as you roll down. Make yourself nice and small. Inhale to unroll, sitting nice and tall. Elbows come out wide again. Exhale to make yourself into a little ball. Inhale to open up. 3 more. Following your breath again. Finding your speed. Taking another breath, nice and tall, elbows wide again, some little side bends. So again, thinking about keeping the hips stable, moving from the waist, elbows staying wide. On an exhale, dipping that left elbow down. Inhale to come up, and exhale, right elbow dips. Inhale to lift, keeping that going. Noticing if the elbows are going for a little wander. Noticing the hips as well, trying to keep them nice and stable. Next pair is your final pair. Left side is the final stretch. Sitting up tall, inhale to reach the heels of the hands to the sky again. Another little wriggle, little stretch. And on an exhale, release the arms down, give them a little shake, get some blood back in those hands. And then just to spite Simon and his hangover, do some quacking. So hands down by the side to start with. Give the shoulders a little shimmy if they're feeling a little tight or weird still. And then on an inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up. Exhale is going to take them all the way back down. And we're going to add the little quacks in. So using your fingers as little beaks, all the way up and all the way back down. Keeping that going. And keeping the arms moving at the same pace so they're still following your breath. See if you can start to quack a little bit faster. Three more. Last one. Hands can have a little shake out when they get down to the bottom. And some nice shoulder rolls. Letting the hands maybe rest on the lap. It's nice exaggerated movements, trying to complete one shoulder roll in a full breath. Noticing all the different parts of your shoulder and how they're moving, your shoulder blades, collarbone, everything going. One more in this direction. And then we're going to switch back. Hopefully your shoulders aren't as crunchy as mine this morning. One more. And sitting up nice and tall. We're going to do another little shoulder stretch. You can have your strap open and in front of you, just in case you have a tight spot. It can help you get into the stretch a little bit more. So we're going to start by inhaling and sweeping the arms up. We're going to take the right hand to the space between the shoulder blades. Just give the elbow a little nudge to start with. Finding that spot, trying to sit up nice and tall, trying to keep the head in its normal place. as though you were just standing with your arms somewhere down by your sides. Just working into that stretch a little bit to start with. And then if you want to, you can look at taking that left hand behind, see if you can find the fingers. If you can't find the fingers, that's where your strap comes in. You're going to take that in the right hand, and then you can reach and grab the bottom of it. Maybe crawl the right hand up towards the left hand behind you. So there's still space for that elbow to lift up nice and tall. One more breath, keeping that elbow nice and lifted. And when you're ready, gently releasing. Any little wriggles that you need. And then resetting, so sitting nice and tall. On your next inhale, sweeping the arms up. This time the left elbow is the one that bends. Again, taking a few breaths to get comfy here first. So thinking about keeping that neck, that head in neutral position. Trying to bring the left elbow a little bit behind it, if anything. And then whenever you're ready, you can have a little reach behind with the right hand. So if you can find your fingers, maybe it's different on each side. If you can't find your fingers, you've got that strap if you need it. If you don't have a strap, you can just keep holding onto the elbow. Keep lifting the elbow up nice and high. One more breath. Gently unravel any little wriggles that you need. Pop your strap over to one side if you've been using it. And then we're going to come back to all fours. Move into the hips a little bit. So getting a nice strong tabletop, thinking about pressing the ground away, thinking about drawing the belly button to the front of the spine. We'll start with the right leg first. So lifting the knee, just drawing some small circles with the knee, noticing how that joint, that hip joint at the top of the leg feels, and making that circle a little bit bigger, as big as you want it to be. Just exploring how that hip joint feels this morning. One more circle in this direction, and then switching back. Maybe making the circles a little bit smaller. 2 more. And then bringing the knee back down to the ground. Give the wrists a little break if they need it. Give the hips a little wiggle if they need it. And then we'll come to the other side. So setting up again, nice strong base. And then when you're ready, little circles with the left knee. Noticing how that hip feels. Allowing those circles to grow. Exploring that movement in that hip. One more in this direction. And then switching back. Maybe making the circles a little bit smaller. 2 more of them. Bringing the left knee back down, having another little wiggle if you need a little wiggle, releasing the wrists. And then from there, we're going to come to a child's pose. If you want to make it a bit more restorative, you can either rest your hands, your chin in your hands so that your head doesn't have to come down into a sort of inverted position, or you can prop yourself up with a bolster or bricks. Nice steady breaths. Noticing how your body is feeling. You feel like any tension is present or has crept in, then maybe taking a little sigh out of the mouth on one of your breaths. See if you can release some of that tension, some of that heat. Ready. Lifting yourself up to a tall kneeling position. You're going to be sticking our legs out to the side, so if you've got enough space either side of you, you can stay where you are. You might want to turn sideways. If you have a buddy in the room, just make sure we are going to come down into a tabletop kind of shape as well. So if you want to avoid bums in faces, just think about where you're going to be. Cool. So getting the knees nice and firmly underneath the hips. Nice and long through the spine. Just taking a couple of breaths here to start with. Then on an inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, taking the hands to heart. I'm going to take the right leg out to the side. So about pressing the whole sole of the foot down into the mat. So you've got nice, active, solid base underneath you. We're going to inhale to sweep the arms up high again. This time we're going to take a side bend over the extended leg. So that hand can just rest, hang out, flop around, or it can reach behind you to the inside of the opposite hip. Keep reaching through those top fingers, lifting the chest. Nice big breath, particularly into this side of the rib cage. One more breath. And we're going to inhale to lift ourselves back up. We're going to exhale, take the hands down in front of us to find that tabletop shape. So finding a long spine, finding that engagement through the fingertips, pressing the ground away, using the shoulders and the ribs. And then we're going to flex the extended foot and twist the toes up towards the sky. Find a stretch on the inner thigh. So if it feels really tight, then you can reduce the amount of twist rotation through that foot. If you're not finding anything, you can look at sitting your bum back towards your heels. We're not looking for anything terribly strong, nothing that is uncomfortable. Just finding the edge of that stretch, breathing into it. After a few breaths, you might find it eases. You find you have a bit more space, and then if that happens, might want to explore the pose a little bit deeper. But if it doesn't soften, just stay with it. One more breath. And we're going to bring the right knee back underneath us. So we're in a tabletop. And we're going to inhale to lift ourselves back up to kneeling. And we're going to extend the other leg out to the side, get that contact through the sole of the foot. So if you can press down through it. Inhale to sweep the arms up nice and high. Exhale to find the side stretch on this side again. The lower arm can just hang out, can reach behind you to find that bind. Thinking about reaching through the top fingertips and lifting the chest up towards the sky. Nice big breaths into the sides of the ribs. Keep lifting the chest, keep reaching through those fingers. One more breath. Inhale to lift all the way up. Exhale, hands come down. Find that tabletop, nice and strong. Set up with the arms, the top part of the body, and then when you're ready, flexing the foot on that extended leg, starting to twist the toes up towards the ceiling. Finding your spot on this side. Keep pressing through those fingertips, taking some of the work out of those wrists. One more breath. And then finding your way back to a tabletop and taking yourself to a child's pose. Any version. You can support the head, you can let it rest on the mat. Knees together or apart, up to you, just somewhere restful, somewhere comfortable. One more breath here. And then bringing yourself up and over onto your back. We're going to hug the knees into the chest to start with. Maybe have a little roll side to side, almost like you're massaging, pressing the lower part of the spine into the ground. And if you need to, lift the hips again. See if you can roll your spine down onto the ground so that it's flat. So you might need to draw the belly button towards the front of the spine to help press it down into the ground. And then we're going to float the shins up parallel with the ground and get the knees above the hips. Arms are a little wide along the ground for support. Now on an exhale, I'm going to do some little heel taps. So keeping the back pressed into the ground throughout. On an exhale, you're going to tap the right heel down to the ground. Inhale is going to lift it back up to its starting point. And then the next exhale takes the left heel down. Inhale to lift it back up. So keep switching. Keep pressing the back into the mat, using the core to help do that. Nice steady pace with the taps. So you're following the length of your breath to complete each movement. So making the next pair your final pair. Left heel tap is last. And then we're going to bring the knees into the chest, give yourself a little hug. And then we're going to place the left sole of the left foot down on the ground. Keep a hold of the right knee with your right hand. Left hand is going to come to the left hip. So just for the moment, notice how this feels. Drawing, less so with your hand, but think about drawing your right knee into your chest. If that feels comfortable and you want to add on, you can explore straightening out that left leg, flexing through the foot. So you're pressing the heel away, toes are coming sort of up towards the sky and a little back towards your face. So it's up to you whether you have that left leg bent or straight. Popping the left hand just on the front of the hip. You're going to use that as a little guide. So on your next exhale, you're going to start to open your right knee to the side as though it's a book, trying to keep it squeezed in close to the body. You're going to try not to let the hips roll. We're focusing on the rotation. So if the left hip starts to lift up, see if you can reconnect it with the ground. Might mean bringing the right knee a little bit back closer to the center line. That's absolutely fine. Just explore that movement. So the hips stay stable. It's just the knee, the thigh bone that's moving. If your left leg is extended, make sure that foot is still flexed, it's still participating. And try to relax your shoulders. Nice steady breaths. Last breath. On your next inhale, whenever that comes, bring the right knee back to center. You can bring both hands around the knee. Give the knee a little squeeze in towards the chest, towards the middle of it. So it's almost coming slightly across the body. Lift that leg there. If the left leg is extended, keep it active. One more breath. And releasing the sole, releasing the knee, letting the sole of the right foot touch down to the other side. So inhale to bring the left knee into the chest, squeezing it as close in as you can, and then just supporting it with the left hand. Right hand comes to the front of that right hip, noticing the position of your hips and trying to relax the shoulders again a little bit as you set up. Again, your choice whether that right leg is bent or whether you want to explore straightening out the leg, pressing out through that heel, keeping that leg active throughout it. So toes reaching up to the ceiling and back towards the face. And when you're ready, use an exhale to send the left knee out to the side, opening it like a book. Again, trying to keep it quite close to the body and keeping an eye on that right hip, making sure it doesn't come away from the ground. So you're exploring that rotation in the left hip joint. Shoulders nice and relaxed. Breath nice and steady. Keeping that right leg nice and active. Don't let it go to sleep on you. One more breath. And as you inhale, bring the left knee back into the chest. Maybe grabbing it with both hands, giving it a little squeeze in and across the body. One more breath. Releasing that left leg, letting it go out long. They're both legs long across the ground. You're going to reach the arms up overhead as well. So you're like a nice long thin pencil down the middle of your mat. Just a very gentle side stretch coming next. So noticing the parts of your body that are in contact with the ground beneath you. And whenever you're ready, just shuffling the feet over towards the right corner, maybe off the right corner of the mat. And then taking the arms over as well. So you can shuffle a bit so the shoulders can move, but see if you can get sort of all those same parts of your back and your legs and your arms in contact with the ground once you find your side bend. Focusing in on your breath. One more breath here. Use an inhale to find your way back to the middle. Take a couple of breaths, just lying straight down the middle of the mat. Taking the time to run a little body scan, see how things feel, check in. Again, noticing the parts of you touching the ground beneath you. And when you're ready, using an exhale to send the hands and the feet over to the left this time. One more breath on this side. Using an inhale to find the center again. Taking a couple of breaths here. Just noticing any shifts in the body. When you're ready, we're going to set up for bridge. Grab a brick. We're not going to pop it between our knees just yet. So find your setup position. So heels usually nice and close towards your bottom. If you have problems with your knees, you might want to move it further away. Find your starting spot. Make sure they're nice and solid, nice and firm. And for the first few breaths, we're just going to explore on an exhale, pressing through the whole sole of the foot, noticing what fires up, what's working. And then inhale just to release that pressure through your feet. Exhale to press down through the whole foot. Inhale to release. Just notice the changes as you do that. One more time. Now you can pop the brick between your knees. So you're just trying to fill the gap that's there naturally. And give it a gentle squeeze. On your next exhale, again, pressing through the whole sole of the foot. If you feel the hips want to lift, let them come up a little way, and then inhale to let them roll all the way back down. And do that 4 more times. Now exhaling to press through the whole foot, letting the hips lift. Maybe they come a bit higher. Inhale to roll all the way back down. Working towards a bridge position, so the next one might lift a little higher still. Using the whole foot to press down. Rolling the spine back down, almost as though it was a cat-cow, like that wave sort of motion through the spine. I'm going to do one more. When the hips come back down, maybe remove the block, have a little wriggle, let the knees drop from side to side, nice and slowly, releasing any tension that might have crept in. And we're going to reset. Block back between the knees again, a little bit of a squeeze there. Feet nice and solid beneath us. This time we're going to come up and hold for 5 breaths. So counting your own breaths. When you're ready, pressing through the feet as you exhale, lift the hips up. We're looking for a sort of Pilates bridge. So trying to create a straight line from the shoulders up to the knees. Pressing through the whole foot. Maybe a little tuck on the tailbone to help find that sort of slide shape, that straight line. Not forgetting about that little squeeze on your brick. When you've done your 5 breaths, gently rolling the spine back down. Block away, little wriggles side to side, releasing any tension. We've got 5 more breaths of an active pose. So you've got 3 choices for your final 5 breaths. You can either go back to those pelvic tilts, but coming up each time towards the top of that range, unless it's causing you pain. You can come back up and hold that Pilates style bridge again, that nice straight line, knees to shoulders. Or you can come up into more of a yoga style bridge where you're trying to send your hips up higher. So they sort of stick out above that spot. So you might find you'll come onto your shoulder blades at the top of your body, and you can maybe shuffle them underneath you, interlace the hands, press the arms into the ground beneath you. I'll do that one because you know what the other two look like. So if you need a reference, you can have a squint at me, but choose your choice. Great English today. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, using the whole foot to press down, start getting ready for whatever it is you're doing. And you've done your 5 breaths, gently releasing yourself with control all the way back down to the mat. Again, having a little wriggle. I'm going to have a little play with plow to counter that. So for that, you might want to shimmy yourself down the mat so there's a bit more space above your head. So I don't know if you want to watch first to get a sense of where you're going, because it's a bit of a tricky one to be in and talk. So I can't necessarily do both. So you're going to keep your arms down by your side. You're going to try to send your feet overhead to the ground. You can use your hands for a bit of support, or you can spread the weight along the ground. If you can't get the legs straight, you can bring the knees towards either side of your ears. It's almost like you're covering your ears, giving them a little squeeze. So it's up to you which one you go into. Whenever you're ready, we're going to be here for 10 breaths, so counting your breaths again. When you've done your 10 breaths, see if you can roll yourself down back onto your back, piece by piece, almost like you're uncurling. Legs can go out straight or bent, whatever you've got space for. And we're going to come into a twist. So your choice of twists. You can either take the feet a little wider than the hips. Try and get that hip rotation in as you drop the knees to the right. A little stretch through the front of the hips. Little gentle stretch for the spine. If you want to focus more on your spine, then drawing the knees up into the chest first, and then dropping them over to the right. Arms in a T position if you're going for that one. Nice big breaths wherever you are. And try to find some softness in your twist. So if you need supports, whether that's a bolster, a brick, a cushion, whatever it is, if you need something to help take some of the weight maybe between or under your knees so that the hip joint can relax, And have a little play with that. Maybe you just need to shift your position slightly. Maybe it's as simple as noticing some tension and letting it go. Focusing back in on your breath. Nice and steady. One more breath on this side. Use an inhale to bring the knees back to center. If you need to shift your props, do that first. And then on an exhale, knees go over to the left. Trying to keep both shoulders flat on the ground, so adjusting with props or just moving your position. Finding, again, that softness. Noticing any tension, doing whatever it is that you need to do to let go of it, to adapt and shift it. Nice steady breaths. Two more breaths here. Using an inhale to bring the knees back. Give yourself a little hug. And then finding your way to your Shavasana. So grabbing any props that you need. any blankets, any jumpers. Make sure you're warm enough and comfortable enough. Take a nice deep full breath into the belly, into all of the lung space, the ribs. Taking a long, gentle sigh out of the mouth, letting all of that air go. Maybe the same again if that feels good. Allowing your bones to feel heavy, your muscles feeling soft. Allowing yourself to relax, feel the ground beneath you. And letting your breath settle back to a natural pace, a natural rhythm. Let it do its own thing. If you want something to focus on, then thinking about your the chakra around the solar plexus, so it's between the bottom of the ribs and above the belly button, in the middle, just in front of your spine. You can think of it as a glowing yellow light. With each breath, that light grows a bit brighter, a bit warmer, a bit fuller, letting it engulf you. Starting to draw a deeper breath. Starting to notice your body, how it feels. Starting to introduce movement again. Whatever movement you feel you need. When you're ready, drawing the knees into the chest. rolling over onto whichever side feels most comfortable. Keeping the body soft, keeping the eyes closed. Staying there for a couple more breaths if you want to. Thinking about starting to use your hands to push yourself up to find a seated position. Again, take any stretches, any wriggles, any last little twists that you need. Bringing your hands to rest over your heart or taking them to prayer. Just taking a little moment to thank yourself for making time this morning for your practice. Thank yourself for looking after yourself, taking care. And taking a moment to thank each other for the effort, for coming together today and each Sunday, or whatever day it is you're watching the video, for making this time for sharing it. Taking the hands to prayer, taking the prayer up to the forehead. It's a reminder to think kind thoughts. Taking the prayer to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind actions. When you're ready, marking the end of the practice with a little bow.